Leela, hang on. Mike shouted. It was the last thing she remembered from that terrible accident. At the time, she was a hopeful fourth-year student expecting a child. A massive traffic accident on the bridge 10 years ago claimed the lives of 7 people, including Leela's unborn child. Doctors fought for 5 hours to save her. You held up well, an elderly doctor said, sitting by Leela's bed. You will live, but you might not be able to have any more children due to the extensive damage. Everything will heal, but the question is how. Nevertheless, you're very lucky. I think fate should give you a special lottery ticket for surviving such a bad accident. The day was etched in Leela's memory forever. The doctor's words came true years later when she became the wife of a businessman. People often say it is wives who shake their husbands into who they are. These women are admired, but few consider the cost of becoming the partners of successful men. Rising from the bottom is not an easy path. It requires sacrificing a quiet life. Leela went through the same experience. She dropped out of college against her teacher's protests and immersed herself in her husband's business. Mike was building a small furniture production company. Why are you sacrificing your life and career? Leela's friends asked. What's the point of putting all your eggs in one basket? How is Mike better than you? You're on track to graduate with honors. Let him think about providing for you while you continue to study. I understand all your concerns and arguments, girls, Leela reassured her worried friends. It was his idea to start the furniture company, so I have to compromise. What if he becomes rich and leaves you like most successful men do? Her friends insisted. Oh, come on. He loves me and would never do that, Leela replied with a smile, already thinking about the delicious meal she would cook for her beloved Mike. Seeing that Leela didn't need their advice, her friends washed their hands of the situation and anxiously watched as she sacrificed her life for a man. Even Leela's parents were unhappy with her decision. Her father, in particular, wanted to see his daughter independent and successful. However, Leela was too happy and inspired by her husband's dream to take the concerns of her loved one seriously. As for Mike, he didn't care about the disapproving glances from Leela's acquaintances at all. He was totally immersed in his business. At first, he and his friend designed and assembled furniture in his garage. Slowly, they gained customers. Throughout it all, Leela was by his side, creating an environment for creativity and career growth. Leela guided her husband through challenges, set up partnerships, and built a client base. She was the driving force behind the rapidly growing furniture company, which could compete with major manufacturers within a couple of years. Customers trusted the quality of their products, and the range of furniture fulfilled every taste and budget, pleasing those with limited income. However, there was one thing that marred their otherwise blissful life: the absence of children. Your tests are normal, and there are no issues on your side, the doctor said at the next appointment. It seems to be a psychological problem. Why can't I get pregnant? Leela asked. It's all in your head, replied the doctor. When you're calm and content, anything is possible. But I am calm and I am content. Leela took offense at the doctor's words. Are you sure? The doctor asked quietly. She remained silent. Deep down, she knew the doctor was right. After all, she had worked as a women's doctor for decades and had learned to understand the psychology of her patients well. What did the doctor say? When are you going to give us grandchildren? Your father is ill. Who knows how long he has left? He'd like to spend some time with his grandchildren before he dies. Mom, don't say that, Leela reassured her. Daddy will be all right, and I'll have time to give birth. You'll get the chance to complain about my kid's naughty behavior. Oh, I wish I could see the baby soon, sighed her mother. Leela's father died 3 months after that conversation. Grief-stricken, her mother didn't live a year after his death, leaving Leela alone. Apart from Mike, she had no other relatives. She sold her parents' apartment to invest the money in her husband's business. As the number of customers grew, the company's capacity needed to be increased. All possible loans had already been taken, and the banks were no longer willing to take the risk and provide the large loan Mike had hoped for. Then they faced an even bigger financial problem. I told you not to buy those bonds. It was too suspicious, Leela said when Mike complained about losing the money he had invested. A blind man could see it was a scam. Why didn't you listen to me? Oh, are you the only one who's so smart here? Mike exclaimed. I'm the owner of the company, and I decide where to invest. I thought we were both the owners, Leela said, surprised. But that's not the point now. We have to save money. Where's the rest of the money you withdrew? I invested in cryptocurrency. A colleague advised me. Mike replied. You're crazy. Leela clutched her head. It's dangerous to trust anyone. But why didn't you tell me what was going on? Calm down. Mike waved his hand and went to work. From that day on, their relationship began to strain, or maybe it had been that way before, but Leela, immersed in caring for her husband and his worries, hadn't noticed. Is this Leela? A confident male voice interrupted her troubled thoughts. This is your father's lawyer, Mr. Marshall. May I see you? It's about your inheritance. Yes, Leela was surprised by the strange call, for she had received her inheritance from her parents 6 months ago. Let's meet in an hour at the Cherry Cafe. Leela sat at a table in a familiar place from her childhood where she used to go with her parents as a little girl. An elderly man in an airy suit, carrying a leather briefcase, approached her. Are you Leela? He asked. But that's an unnecessary question. You look so much like your daddy. Have you known my father? Leela wondered. Like the back of my hand, smiled the lawyer. He trusted me completely. I'm retiring now, but I have one more thing to complete. To discuss your father's will with you. Haven't I got everything? She wondered. No, since I am here now, replied Mr. Marshall. Your father managed his money, which he accumulated by playing the stock market, quite cleverly. He knew that in a fit of emotion, you would give everything to your husband, and your father didn't trust Mike. As you know, he predicted that you'd be left with nothing, no means of livelihood, no parents' apartment, and the apartment has already been sold, right? Yes, Leela said, dumbfounded. She was shocked that her dad had thought it all out so carefully, and even after his death wanted to help his daughter. Here is the account that is yours alone. You can only spend this money on yourself or your own company, which will be registered in your name only. I was appointed by your father to oversee the spending of the money, and believe me, not a single dime will be spent on your husband and his business. But this furniture firm is our family business, Leela exclaimed. How can I spend the money only on myself? You should, smiled Mr. Marshall. You'll understand someday. As far as I know, the firm was registered under Mike's name before your wedding. I trusted him, answered Leela stubbornly. But your father didn't, said the lawyer gently. Here's a bank card. According to your father's will, you'll be receiving a certain amount of money on it every month. It's the interest accrued from the deposit, so that you don't have to depend on your spouse. And this is the amount of money in the main account, said the lawyer, writing down a sum with many zeros. When Leela saw the amount of money her father had left her, she was confused. How? How could he earn so much? It's impossible. He and Mom lived an ordinary life, she exclaimed, splashing her hands in frustration. Who do you think you got your talent for finances from? Plus, he had a faithful and pragmatic friend like me, Mr. Marshall smiled. Thank you, Leela said, hugging the elderly man like a father. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she cried, I miss him and Mom so much. Me too, my girl, me too, the lawyer replied, bidding farewell and heading home. Leela flew home as if on wings, eager to share the news of her newfound wealth with her husband. However, to her surprise, he didn't seem enthusiastic. Your money is none of my concern, her husband replied dryly. This lawyer and your daddy, they thought me worthless. He didn't show me any respect. He sat on the money while you and I struggled like a fly against a closed window. Good idea, father. Don't talk about my father like that, Leela said firmly. My parents have helped us a lot. I gave my all to your dream, and we made it. Now you have your own company. What else can you dream of? Who asked you to give your all to our business? Mike suddenly retorted, causing Leela's eyes to well up with resentment. I have a dream, a son and a daughter, which you can't give me. The last statement struck Leela deeply as if a red-hot knife had pierced her heart. She hadn't expected such cruelty from her husband. "But you know I can't have children because of that accident. And you had something to do with it as well. Don't you remember? It was a miracle that you got away with it." They blamed the truck driver. "What's done is done," Mike replied, preparing to leave. "Where are you going?" "It's evening," Leela asked. "I'm going to the office. I have too much work to do because I don't have a rich father who could give me money." Mike replied curtly, slamming the door behind him. Apparently, he couldn't forgive his wife for not being able to provide him with access to the money. As the evening grew late and Mike still hadn't returned home, panic started to set in. But then Leela heard the key turn in the lock, and Mike entered the hallway, tipsy, something he had never allowed himself to do before on a weeknight. "Where have you been for so long?" Leela asked anxiously. "Where I've been? I'm not there anymore." Mike laughed drunkenly and went to sleep on the sofa without even taking off his shoes. Leela attributed Mike's behavior to his upset about her father's inheritance and his lack of trust in him from the beginning. Therefore, she forgave this prank. As Leela undressed the sleeping Mike to put him to bed, she caught a subtle scent of women's perfume. Dismissing it as the scent of alcohol, she didn't pay much attention. Mike, Leela sighed. "What a child you are," she said, stroking his head. "Courtney, my girl, sunny daughter," Mike mumbled incoherently in his sleep. Leela froze in surprise. "My poor Mike," she thought. "He's delirious about having children, and I can't give him any. He's already named his daughter Courtney in his dreams." Leela wept bitterly, trying to stifle her sobs so as not to wake her drunk husband. In the morning, Mike was in high spirits, which couldn't be said for Leela. "Why are you so strange?" Mike asked, as if nothing had happened, while his wife prepared breakfast. "You look like you spent the entire night at a sports bar cheering for your favorite team." "If only," Leela replied sleepily. "Someone came home drunk from work last night. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?" "Why can't I have a drink with an old friend? We haven't seen each other in a long time." Mike retorted, taking offense. "A friend? Is this an interrogation?" Mike suddenly exploded, causing Leela to shudder in fright. "I'll eat at work. At least there's no interrogation there," he said, walking away and leaving Leela bewildered in the middle of the kitchen. That afternoon, Leela decided to go to the store near her husband's office. She wanted to please him with a sumptuous dinner and mend the rough edges that were appearing more frequently in their relationship. "Leela, it's good to see you." Carol, Mike's secretary who had been with the company since its inception, rushed to meet her. "Hi, Carol. Why don't you come in to see us?" Leela asked. "I think Mike won't be happy to see me," she said with a conspiratorial wink. Leela found Carol's words strange. "Why are you walking around in the middle of the working day? Did you go for gingerbread and coffee?" Leela joked. "No, I resigned from my job a couple of months ago," said Carol. "Why?" Leela stood in surprise. "Was the salary not satisfactory? We could raise it." "There's another reason. Let's just say it has a moral background," she answered evasively. "And who's in your place now?" Mike didn't say anything. "That's strange. There's a new secretary. Her name is Courtney," Carol replied, blushing. "I found another job, and I'm getting used to it. By the way, did you have a family celebration yesterday? I saw Mike buying a gorgeous bouquet of flowers and a huge teddy bear." "No, he was at work late last night and then came home drunk," Leela replied. "Are you sure?" Carol asked softly. Saying goodbye, she went on her way. This strange conversation had unsettled Leela and wouldn't let her relax. Dinner was ready, but she wasn't as glad as she had been in the morning. Vague doubts tormented her. Leela was afraid to directly ask where her husband had been last night, and with whom. What if her suspicions were groundless and Carol was only seeking revenge on Mike for her dismissal? Dinner was on the table, but Mike still hadn't arrived. He showed up on the doorstep 2 hours later. Leela had to reheat the roast. She put on a smile to hide her worries. "Lots of work?" Leela asked sympathetically, helping her husband take off his jacket. Her nose detected the familiar scent of expensive French perfume. It was a woman's perfume. After inspecting his shirt for traces of lipstick and finding nothing, Leela calmed down, thinking she was just overthinking things. Yes, there's a lot of work, Mike said. I was discussing the company's development strategy for next year. I'm so tired. I'll grab a quick bite and go to bed. Okay, but I've been preparing all day. I've been at the stove for 3 hours, Leela said, unable to keep her upset hidden. Let's spend some time together like we used to. Remember? We'll sit, we'll talk, we'll laugh, we'll reminisce. Leela, I'm not in the mood to laugh right now, Mike cut her off. We need to increase production, and that requires money. I told you I'm tired. Can't you hear me? It's true what they say, women become dumb when they become housewives. Leela didn't expect such rudeness from her husband and decided not to continue the argument. Dinner passed in silence, the ticking clock measuring the time until the end of their strained meal. Leela occasionally went into the kitchen to wipe away her tears. Soon, Mike got up, thanked her for dinner, and left the dining room without even kissing her as he usually did. Prickly suspicions began to take root in Leela's soul. Why had Carol stopped visiting them? Why didn't her father trust Mike? Who was involved in Carol's dismissal? These questions swarmed in Leela's mind without answers. She resolved to find out the whole truth. However, a few days later, she felt sick and weak. Her rapid pulse and semi-fainting led her to a hospital bed. It's strange, the young doctor said to Leela. All your tests came back fine, but your condition is not good. It seems like you have symptoms of toxic poisoning and a heart attack combined, but the blood tests would show that, and they're perfect. I don't understand. Am I going to live? Leela asked quietly. You will, of course, but we need to know the reason for such sudden fainting and weakness. What did you eat yesterday? Dr. Litho asked. Nothing much. A roast and a glass of red wine, replied Leela, quite confused. Then, if you think I'm inexperienced, you can change your attending physician, the doctor said grimly. No, I'm fine with you. Perhaps it's the effects of an old injury from the accident, Leela assured the doctor. I don't think so, he said, but anything is possible. I'll schedule an MRI, and then we'll see. However, the MRI revealed no abnormalities in Leela. The doctors were at a loss but helped her recover. Leela was taken home from the hospital by her friend. Mike didn't find time to assist his wife and didn't visit her during the 5 days she was undergoing examinations. This greatly offended Leela, and she decided to confirm whether her father was right about her husband. As she entered the house, she felt a sense of emptiness. The refrigerator was empty, and expensive champagne bottles were in the trash can. And what were you celebrating so cheerfully while I was in the hospital, dear husband? Leela asked aloud, facing Mike's picture on the mantelpiece. It's time to expose you. Just wait, hubby. You've never been intelligent, honey. Leela took a pen and a piece of paper, finally figuring out what she needed to do. Being skilled with technology, Leela had no trouble setting up a hidden camera in the niche of the fireplace opposite the antique chest of drawers that her father had given her as a gift. She placed the important piece of paper in a folder, which she then hid in the top drawer of the dresser, and locked with a key. She looked at the small silver key. Daddy, thank you for this gift, Leela mentally expressed her gratitude to her father. Leela hoped her plan would help her navigate this difficult situation. God, give me strength to make time pass more quickly, she prayed. To occupy herself, she decided to cook dinner for two within the limits of her health. While waiting for the groceries to be delivered, she went to the bedroom to choose an outfit for dinner, wanting to look her best. Leela applied her favorite cream to her face and neck, enjoying its pleasant fragrance. However, she encountered a problem. All her dresses hung on her like hangers. She had lost a significant amount of weight. Looking in the mirror, she saw her sunken cheeks, dark circles under her eyes that aged her, and thinning, dull hair. Leela also didn't feel well. She was constantly thirsty, even after drinking all the water from the carafe in the kitchen. The groceries arrived quickly, but preparing dinner turned out to be a challenge. Leela had to take breaks frequently as her hands trembled with weakness, and she longed to lie down and rest. She remembered her beautiful pearl earrings and wanted to wear them, but they were not in their usual place. At that moment, the front door slammed open, and Mike entered the kitchen. "Leela, are you home?" "Yeah, I'm here," she replied, coming out into the hallway. "Dinner is on the table. Wash your hands and join me." "How are you feeling? You don't look well," Mike said, looking at her as if seeing her for the first time. "I'm so-so," she replied. "Have you seen my pearl earrings? I can't find them. It's strange." "No," Mike replied briefly. During dinner, Leela told her husband, "Listen, something strange has been happening to me lately. I don't know how much time I have left to live." Leela noticed how intently her husband listened to her. "That's why I've made a will, but I have one condition." "What?" Mike exhaled. "The will is in my dresser. You must only open it after I pass away. Here's the key. Will you promise me?" Leela handed her husband the precious key. "Certainly," he answered quickly, hesitating before adding, "Well, I hope that won't happen." The trap was set. Leela would know if Mike discovered the will before the specified time, proving that all he wanted from her was money. Leela anxiously watched to see if Mike would approach the dresser. She had installed a special app on her phone to monitor it. 3 days passed, but Mike didn't go near it. Leela began to feel a sense of relief. They resumed having dinners together, which helped calm her down. However, the mysterious illness resurfaced. Leela's condition deteriorated rapidly, and she was transported by ambulance back to the same hospital. When Leela regained consciousness, Dr. Latho and an unfamiliar man were standing in front of her, engaged in a heated argument. "Oh, come on, Travis, what nonsense!" exclaimed Dr. Latho. "You're talking nonsense. You're a medic." "I've seen patients like her before," Travis whispered. "It's not good if you don't help them in time." "Why don't I get her a granny who was a talented herbalist?" scoffed Travis. "Oh, come on, bring in more shamans. Let him dance with a tambourine. Maybe we can use witchcraft to get a new ultrasound machine at the same time," Dr. Latho retorted, clearly annoyed. "This is a hospital, not a forest village. Don't bother our granny. She's not young and has high blood pressure." "Doctor," Leela whispered, "what shamans are you talking about?" "Oh, you're awake. That's good." Dr. Latho leaned over Leela and checked her pulse. "Your heart is racing. I don't understand anything. My brother is joking. He's talking nonsense. Rest now and I'll check on you later." Leela was left alone in the room. This time, Mike had splurged and chosen the best ward for his wife, apparently to apologize for the last time when he had left Leela here alone. Between procedures, she took out her phone and started watching the space where the dresser stood. She was afraid she would miss the moment when Mike opened the drawer, but nothing happened for a while. Leela began to think she had been wrong in her suspicions. However, her patience was rewarded. Leela clearly saw Mike walk over to the dresser and take the key out of his jacket. Suddenly, he looked around and smiled as if he had seen something beautiful. A young woman with Leela's pearl earrings in her ears approached him. "How? How could you?" Leela exclaimed, her heart clenching. Her cry was not heard by the person it was intended for, but she heard perfectly what they were saying. "Courtney, I hope there will be good news for us," Mike said softly, causing Leela's heart to ache. "Open it now, darling," Courtney demanded. "Actually, I was supposed to do it after my wife's death, but for you, I'm ready for anything." Mike smiled. He skillfully pulled out the folder with the will. With hands trembling with greed, he opened the folder to find a completely blank sheet of paper. "I don't understand. Is this some kind of stupid joke?" Mike shouted, throwing the sheet on the floor. "What is this? Where is the will? What does it mean?" "It seems like you've been tricked," Courtney said grudgingly. "How could you let her do that? You said you had it all worked out." "She knew I would open the will beforehand, so she suspected me," Mike concluded. "I can't stand her anymore. I'm sick of her." "Calm down," Courtney said. "You're scaring me, and it's not good to worry." Suddenly, a sharp pain pierced Leela's entire body, and she lost consciousness. "You frightened us," a male nurse said while giving her an IV. "It's good that you're awake." "Get Mr. Marshall, my lawyer." "Here's the phone," Leela said, not even having the strength to hold the receiver. "Okay, I'll do it," the man said. Mr. Marshall arrived quickly. Leela told him everything, hiding nothing. He was concerned about her condition. "Leela, why didn't you tell me anything?" he said reproachfully. "You are on the edge. You have problems in your personal life, and not only that, you are seriously ill." "I didn't want to inconvenience anyone. I'm sorry," Leela replied quietly, her strength leaving her. "Dear Mr. Marshall, I ask for your help. Make a will in my name. All the money I received from my father after his death. I want to leave it to the children's fund. They will distribute it fairly. I didn't have children of my own, so at least I will help other people's children." "All right, I'll do whatever you ask," Mr. Marshall replied with trembling lips. "Are you sure you won't leave anything to your spouse?" "I will," said Leela. "I'll bequeath him my old dresser." Mr. Marshall couldn't resist laughing. Even in such a situation, you can make a joke. That's why your father adored you, and I understand him. After the lawyer had left, Leela thought for a moment. She used to worry only about her husband's well-being, and what did she get in return? No family, no children, and no faith in the future. That's what was left of their marriage. Even in his dreams, Mike talked about Courtney. Naive Leela had thought he was dreaming of a daughter. Now, all she had ahead of her was an unexplained illness and emptiness. Tears of resentment flowed from her eyes as she reflected on her life, which had been devoted solely to one man. She had missed her parents' illnesses and deaths because she was consumed with worry about Mike's business and caring for him. In their time of need, she hadn't been there for them, and now she found herself completely alone. The realization of her own loneliness crushed Leela even further. She became discouraged and found herself unable to get out of bed by the end of the day. "Hey, why are you so sour?" Travis, the same male nurse, sat next to the sobbing Leela, holding a tray. "Come on, let's have some chicken soup." "I don't want to," Leela said quietly. "Let me die in peace." "Not on my watch," Travis exclaimed. "You need to eat. All right, if you don't want to eat, then drink." Seeing Leela looking at him with surprise and confusion, he corrected himself. "I mean, have some chicken broth." Travis artistically shook the cup, but his clumsiness caused the soup to splash onto the floor. Leela involuntarily laughed, but it was a silent laughter, as if the strength of the recently energetic woman had also poured out like the soup. Travis seized the moment and managed to pour a few spoonfuls of warm broth into Leela. Immediately, she felt better and smiled. "Thank you," she said. "You're welcome," Travis smiled. "It's my job and calling to help people, but I've had an eye on you for a long time." "What's the matter? How did you end up like this?" "I think there's something wrong, and even though my brother is against it, I still want to offer you a solution." "What is it?" Leela wondered. "To escape from here," Travis whispered. "They won't heal you here. They don't know what they're doing." "I have nowhere to go," she said quietly, tears streaming down her face. "I'll take you to my grandmother. She's a healer and herbalist. She used to work wonders, but now she's old and doesn't practice anymore. But she'll help you for me," Travis assured her. "Why do you want to help me?" Leela asked. "To be honest, I don't even know myself." "There's something about you that has caught my attention," he shrugged. "Well, do you agree? Time is working against you. Write a note saying that you're leaving the hospital voluntarily, or they'll call the police and I'll be in trouble." "All right," Leela replied briefly. She had nothing to lose. Late that night, at the agreed hour, Travis brought her some clothes. Leela changed into them. He lifted Leela, who was thin and light as a feather, into his arms and carried her out of the hospital unnoticed. They took a cab to Grandma Evelyn's house. The village where she lived was not far from the city. The house, covered in ivy, was surrounded by fragrant herbs. Evelyn was sitting on a bench when she saw her grandson carrying Leela out of the car. She hurried over to help him. Once Leela was brought into the house, they laid her on a high bed with a feather mattress. Evelyn gave her a medicinal decoction to drink, accompanied by prayers and incantations. Leela suddenly felt enveloped in a pleasant and relaxing sleep. "Sleep, my dear, sleep," Evelyn whispered soothingly, her voice reaching Leela through her slumber. Leela slept for nearly 24 hours. She was awakened by the aroma of freshly baked goods and food, feeling a wild hunger that seemed unfamiliar. Sensing her strength returning, she greeted Evelyn. "Good morning. What did you give me to drink?" Leela asked. "It's a decoction made from nettles gathered under the full moon, along with prayers to all the saints," Evelyn explained simply. "It removes the evil that has been done to you, and there was much of it. I had to change your shirt 3 times. Leela examined herself and indeed found she was in a long linen shirt, carefully embroidered. "Thank you," she said quietly. "There's no need to thank me. You should thank my grandson instead. A couple more days, and you would have died in vain. They fed you, my dear, with yellow-toad poison, the kind found in our swampy marshes. No analysis would have detected its cause," exclaimed the herbalist. "But who would do this to me? I've never hurt anyone," Leela exclaimed in amazement. "You don't have to hurt people. Sometimes it's enough just to live well," sighed Evelyn. "That's why people can get mad or envious. Someone close to you poisoned you, putting it in your face cream. Your face and neck were the most affected, but there's still much inside you." "Oh, Evelyn, help me please," pleaded Leela. "I'll give you as much money as you want." "I don't need your money. I'm doing this for my grandson," Evelyn said with a smile. "He must have taken a liking to you. He's a good man." Leela's strength gradually returned. By evening, she was able to get out of bed and move around. After a bath, where Evelyn performed a purification ritual, Leela felt better than before, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. When Travis arrived home after work, he was surprised to find Leela and his granny making dumplings together. "Wow," he exclaimed. "Grandma, you've outdone yourself." Leela looked so sick. "How did this happen? I'm so glad." "It was a professional job," Grandma joked. "But seriously, grandson, you brought Leela here just in time. By the way, how's your brother doing? Is he angry?" "Well, he's good," Travis grinned. "He left me without a bonus, saying it was for self-rule. We'll have to give him a bath too to wash away his pride." The next 3 days passed peacefully and tranquilly for Leela. She had never felt better, enjoying her time in the village. The clean air, delicious food, closeness to nature, and the simplicity and openness of the people convinced Leela to stay, much to the delight of Evelyn and Travis. The healer had been in need of a successor for a long time, and Travis had developed strong feelings for the beautiful and gentle Leela. However, this idyllic period was interrupted by a visit from Leela's past life. Mike showed up, clearly not expecting to see Leela in good health, and he was unpleasantly surprised. "Well, hello," he said sarcastically. "So this is where you've been hiding. The hospital told me you'd run away. How could you do that? You could have died without treatment." "Hello," Leela replied coolly. "And who, I wonder, is to blame for my illness? Do you happen to know? I have every right to leave anywhere, but poisoning someone is a serious crime." Mike turned pale. "What poison? I know nothing about it," he cried. "And you don't know anything about your mistress Courtney either, right?" Leela asked, no longer caring about her husband's infidelity. She realized she no longer loved him. "I have no mistress," Mike shouted, his face turning red. "But the camera footage says otherwise," Leela grinned. "Did you like my will, by the way? I filed for divorce. My lawyer will be in touch." "I'm glad to hear it. I've wanted to divorce you for a long time," Mike yelled. "I'm sick of you. I own the whole business, including your house. You signed the deed of gift without looking." "Yes, my father was right about you, and I'm grateful for his help." Leela grinned. "I'm sorry about your Courtney. I think she'll meet the same fate as me. Now get out. This house is too clean for your kind." Mike left, slamming the door loudly. Leela could no longer hold back her tears and sobbed. Evelyn rushed to comfort her. "Don't be sad, my dear. You're still young, and we start living again. God willing, everything will work out for you." She stroked Leela's head. "Look at how Travis looks at you. He can't take his eyes off you. I think it's mutual." "Well, go and tell him," Evelyn smiled. "Because he's tormented by his feelings." That same night, when the two hearts in love met, Leela and Travis worked things out between them and decided to get married as soon as Leela got a divorce. They didn't have long to wait for that. Mr. Marshall did everything so that Leela finally parted ways with her traitor husband. Instead of having a grand wedding, the couple opted for a modest ceremony at the registry office, surrounded by their closest friends and family. "I wish you nothing but joy in life, Leela," Mr. Marshall said, embracing the young woman. "Your father would approve of your choice. Travis is a worthy man." "Thank you," she replied. "We've also decided to open a small medical center in the village. Currently, we don't even have a paramedic here, and the sick have to travel to town for medical services. Additionally, we want to establish an office for alternative medicine with Evelyn in charge. However, it seems we need a special permit for that." "Don't worry, I'll handle all the paperwork," assured Mr. Marshall. "Using your father's funds is the right thing to do." "Yes, I believe Dad would be okay with it," Leela said. While the construction of the medical center was underway, Evelyn taught Leela all the wisdom she possessed. The elderly woman also left Leela an old book about herbalism, an ancient family heirloom passed down through generations of women. It was a large ancient manuscript bound in red leather, which Leela diligently studied under Evelyn's guidance. Soon, Leela became well-versed in herbs and their uses and was able to identify the true cause of ailments. Travis's household now had 2 herbalists. It was only then that Leela realized why she had never completed her studies at the university. She had a different calling: to heal and save people. Her incredible talents were immediately recognized by Travis's grandmother. Evelyn passed away peacefully in her sleep 2 weeks before the opening of the medical center. Leela's grief was overwhelming, and for 3 days she couldn't eat or drink. As preparations were made for the funeral, on the first night after the funeral, Leela dreamed of Evelyn. "Don't grieve, my granddaughter. This is just the start of another life for me, and you must continue my work. Take care of Travis and the miracle that awaits." "I am leaving, Grandma. Please don't go," Leela cried out in her sleep. She was awakened by a frightened Travis. Leela shared her dream with him and cried out her sorrow, hoping to alleviate the pain of separation. By morning, Leela had regained her strength and resolve. She had a duty to fulfill Evelyn's instructions. A week later, the medical center, named after Grandma Evelyn, was opened. Patients flooded in every day. The non-traditional medicine office, where Leela herself provided consultations, was particularly beloved by the locals. Not a single person left unsatisfied with her help. Travis supported his wife in every aspect of her work. However, there was one thing that still troubled Leela: she couldn't get pregnant. Her body seemed unable to let go of the past, despite following Evelyn's instructions faithfully. "Let go of your resentment," Evelyn had told her on numerous occasions. "Why do you still hold on to it? You must release the burden of those bitter memories. It's preventing you from becoming a mother." But Leela's heart still edged for Mike. "Leela, Travis." People called from outside the window. She quickly got dressed and went out into the yard. The coolness of the summer night greeted her. "What's going on?" Leela hurried to the crowd of fellow villagers. They parted, revealing an unconscious pregnant woman lying on a makeshift stretcher. "Her water has already broken. Her car was parked on the side of the bypass road," said one of the locals. "I was driving back from the farm when I spotted a pregnant woman slumped in her car. It was obvious her vehicle wouldn't start. Help!" I called out. "We need an ambulance, but it'll take ages with these muddy roads after the rain." "Come on, Leela, do something," urged Travis urgently, "or this poor woman might not make it." Leela hesitated for a moment, then leaned over the stranger. It was Courtney, Mike's mistress. "No, she won't die. Bring her inside." Leela shouted. "Travis, go get the doctor from your brother's hospital. We have an emergency." Travis leaped onto his motorcycle and raced across the fields. Moments later, Courtney was brought into the medical center. She stirred awake at the sight of Leela and cried out in pain, "Forgive me. I'm so guilty before you." "God will forgive, and I've forgiven you," Leela replied calmly. "Now, let's focus on your labor. We're going to save your children. Tell me, how did you end up here? Why were you alone at night?" "I'm alone," Courtney explained tearfully. "Mike was jailed for tax evasion and fraud. I begged him to stop being so greedy, But he wouldn't listen. They took everything and we never got married. I was left with nothing. Don't worry, Leela reassured her gently. Everything will be all right. The doctor will be here soon. Just 10 minutes later, the medical center echoed with the cries of newborn twins, a boy and a girl. The delivery, though not without minor complications, went smoothly. Overcome with emotion, Leela held the babies close, tears streaming down her face, while Courtney watched silently, her expression unreadable. After the doctor examined Courtney and confirmed her physical health, she was transferred to a ward. The twins were taken away to be cleaned and swaddled. "What will you name them?" Leela asked Courtney softly. "I don't know," Courtney replied with a shrug, turning away. "All right, get some rest," Leela said kindly, closing the door behind her. She left pomegranate juice and porridge on the table for the exhausted mother. Leela spent the entire night caring for the babies, trying not to disturb Courtney, who needed sleep and recovery. When she brought the twins back into the room in the morning, she was taken aback to find Courtney gone, leaving only a brief note. "I'd relinquish the children. They are yours, Leela. I can't raise them alone without Mike, and I don't want to. I'm sorry. Goodbye." And so, Leela became a mother to Evelyn and Jaden. She and Travis decided to formally adopt them. 5 years passed. "Mama," little Evelyn asked one day, "why do all my friends in kindergarten have younger brothers and sisters, and we don't?" "Don't worry, honey," Leela smiled. "You'll have them too." "Yay!" Evelyn cheered. "How will it happen?" asked Travis, bewildered. "Just like this," Leela laughed, showing Travis the pregnancy test she had taken the day before.